What's your name?
Cooper.
Cooper what?
Marie.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Dad.
Brothers!
I made Dad do it.
Brothers! So Coop, where were you born?
China.
It's impossible to tell Cooper's story without telling Nash's story, because those are two stories that are intertwined and 100% connected. The doctor came to me, and I could tell he had a concerned look on his face. He put his arm around me, and he walked me to the very back corner of the delivery room, as far from anybody as he could go, and he said, "Brady, I think your son has Down syndrome." And that was my introduction to this world. And so from one moment, I was on this path and in this certain world, and in 1 second, I entered a new path and a new world that to me in that moment seemed just terrifying. So many unknowns. All of the dreams that I had for my son seemed to disappear, and like just baseball and fishing and hiking and everything else, I just didn't seem like a reality anymore. And then I got really scared, because I knew what the doctor had just told me, and I knew I was going to be the one to have to go tell Andrea. I grabbed her hand, I'm just like weeping, and she's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I said the words, the doctor said Nash has Down syndrome. And about as fast as she looked down, she looked back up at me, said, "Great, can I hold my son?" And I knew in that moment that everything was going to be okay. The emotion and the rawness and just those feelings were still there, but I could just tell based on my wife's reaction that everything was going to be okay.
We were so excited to get to know other people that had children with Down syndrome or that had Down syndrome themselves. And they told us that there were all these children, all these babies born with Down syndrome in different countries, in developing countries, where these babies were still immediately placed in an institution.
They don't do it because they don't want to raise that child. They do it simply because there's not the support, there's not the social acceptance, etc. And our country was no different 50 years ago.
We considered, well, should we adopt? And we had just 3 little children at the time, and we thought, no, this isn't the time for us to adopt, but we want to do something to help.
Andrea said, she said, "I got an idea." And I still remember where we were, and I remember the moment, I'm like, "Go on." And she's like, "Why don't you do an Ironman triathlon to fundraise and raise awareness for a kid?" And I looked at her and I said, "Why don't you do an Ironman triathlon to fundraise for a kid?"
He's like, "I don't know if I could do a full Ironman," but he's like, if I was doing it for one of these kids, like I would do it.
It was like a part-time job, honestly, to try and train for one of these things.
Brady would have to get up sometimes at like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning to go start his ride so he could get his bike ride in for the day, or so he could go swimming. And oftentimes when he would get up, the little boys would hear him and they would get up too. And so I remember, there were times like 3:30 in the morning when we're all standing out in the driveway waving goodbye to Brady as he rides off.
I got a phone call one day from a man that said, "You don't know me, but we have a lot in common. I have a son who has Down syndrome. I also am an Ironman triathlete, and I happen to be the CEO of the presenting sponsor of this year's Ironman World Championship in Kona. And we want to bring you over to Kona and have you race in the Ironman World Championship and feature your story on NBC." And so, like, how could you make that up? I had people from all over the world reaching out to us and saying, "We want to do this too. We want to race and we want to help orphaned children with Down syndrome get adopted." And that was the start of Racing for Orphans with Down Syndrome, which is known as RODS, or RODS Heroes now. We've seen hundreds of children be able to get adopted because of the work of amazing volunteers and our amazing team.
Me that worked out in Mojo
Let's see if you can do a push-up. Come on, let's see it. Show
Come
us.
on, buddy.
Kick out a couple. You do it too, Nash. You guys do 5 push-ups?
Come on, Cooper.
No, let's see it. Let's see it.
Do it, Cooper. Hey.
Oh, I love that. 1, 2, 3.
No.
I knew Coop couldn't do a push-up. Let's see it, Nash.
No, that's not us.
That's some form right there.
Yeah, buddy. Now he's crazy. There came a time when Andrea came to me and said, you know, we've been advocating for a lot of kids, and a lot of kids have got adopted. What do you think about adopting a child that has Down syndrome? And in that moment, I went back to the delivery room when the doctor told me that Nash has Down syndrome. Just all those raw emotions came back, and just all those feelings and that fear. You know, everything was good with Nash. Like, whew, we made it. Everything was good, but like, are we really want to toe that line again? And Andrea, in her wisdom, she's so smart. She knows me so well. She just said, just think about it, honey. All those fears, they didn't necessarily go away, but that overriding feeling of, yes, this is what you're supposed to do, was stronger than those fears. That's when we came across Coop. And so when we learned about this boy, we learned that he was found abandoned on a street corner when he was 6 months old in a city of 14 million people. That the authorities were called, and they came and they picked the boy up and they took him to an orphanage. They took a picture of him and they put that in the local newspaper asking if anybody knew who this child was. And nobody came forward, and so Coop stayed there for 4 years, the first 4 years of his life. I described Cooper being abandoned on a street corner, and I've since felt very differently. I, in ways I can't describe, feel very strongly that Coop's mom was doing the very best that she could. And she just knew that that was going to be very best for her child. I hope that someday I get to meet her and to be able to show her what our son, together, our son, has done with his life and those gifts that he has. And whether it's in this life or the life to come, I believe that someday I'll get to share with her what her son has done. And that will be a very redeeming time. So we're in China. We come home. The kids were so excited to see their new brother, especially Nash. Do you remember that, Nash? We went to the airport, and do you remember we came down the escalator and you were waiting for Coop? Do you remember that part, Nash? We're at the top of the escalator and we start coming down, and Nash just couldn't contain himself, and he pulled the strap, you know, pushed it away, pushed Grandpa away, came running to the bottom of the escalator and put his arms up, said, "My Cooper." They are 2 peas in a pod, match made in heaven. You want to tell us a joke?
Cooper will.
All right, you tell Cooper a joke.
Not me.
Nash, tell Cooper a knock-knock joke.
No.
Who's there?
Hers.
Horse who? That's not a horse. It's a cow.
And we started having all kinds of adventures. Coop liked baseball. He liked going to baseball, he liked watching baseball, he liked throwing the baseball. He really wanted to play baseball, okay? Not just practice, not just go watch his brothers, but he wanted to go out there with his brothers and play baseball. In our community, there's not an adaptive league. There's not a league for kids with disabilities to go play baseball. If Coop was going to play baseball, he was going to play with typical kids in a typical league. And honestly, I'm embarrassed to say this, but like I was hesitant. I didn't know how the other kids would treat Coop. I didn't know how they'd feel about having a kid with Down syndrome on their team. I didn't know what the coach would feel. I didn't know if the parents would be upset, and I was scared for Coop to get hurt or to be bullied or to be made fun of, and so I did my best to try and talk him out of it. No, bud, we'll play in the backyard. We'll go to all the games, and hey, we'll watch the Braves game tonight. And Coop was persistent. I'm really glad he was. And so finally, I let him go for it. And lo and behold, he did amazing.
And we hit
You hit?
and base.
You stole a base?
Yes.
You slid?
Yes.
Is that when you had the game-winning run?
The other kids not only were okay with it, but they loved it.
Let's go! Yeah! Nice job, guys! Way to go, Willow!
And it was right about then that he got the nickname Extra Super Cooper.
So that kind of is what morphed into him being able to do the pitches.
Please welcome Cooper Murray.
A spouse of a pitcher for the Chicago Cubs, Libby Still, reached out to us on Instagram. We want to invite you to come down to spring training. And we said, let's go. I mean, this is a great opportunity. And it's almost like an afterthought as it was nearing that the idea came into mind of, well, what if Coop threw out the first pitch at a spring training game for the Cubs? Sure enough, a few days later, they came back and said, yep, it's all set. Coop's going to throw out the first pitch in this spring training game. A couple weeks later, the Cubs reach out and they say, hey, we loved what Cooper did. Will you guys come to Wrigley Field and have Coop throw out the first pitch at our Memorial Day game? So we did the same thing that he did at spring training, only this time it was in front of a packed stadium. And I looked over at him and I said, bud, you nervous? And he looked at me like, no, like, why? This is awesome, you know? And me, I'm just a nervous wreck. 2 weeks later, the Red Sox called and said, will you come do that here at Fenway? And so a few weeks later, there we are at one of the most iconic, arguably the two most iconic baseball stadiums in all of baseball history. And that sparked something because we started to see the awareness that it created. One, for the superpower of Down syndrome, and two, the hearts that were being opened of families reaching out to us, inquiring about adopting a child with Down syndrome. And so that started the campaign to have Coop throw out the first pitch in all 30 MLB stadiums. We've done 9 so far. We've got 3 more this summer. It's going to take us a few years to get to all 30, but we're chipping away. Hopefully it comes about soon enough. Andrea came up with this idea. She said, honey, what if we wrote a children's book? And what if we wrote it about Cooper's story? But not with the intention to just tell Cooper's story, but with the intention, more than anything, to help others to feel just how super they are as well, just like Cooper. And we put together a book that is called Cooper is Super, and So Are You. In the back, we have Cooper's team, past and present.
Yeah.
And we've got all our family there, and we've got Kay Beck, that is Cooper's teacher, who is so integral for the first 5-6 years of his elementary school.
Who's this right here?
My debate.
Is that Kay Beck?
Yes.
Is that your teacher?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about her?
Uh-huh.
And she doesn't know she's in the book. So tomorrow we'll share that with her. We'll give her a book and show that she's in it.
Cooper! Cooper! Hi, Cooper! Hi, Cooper! Hi, Cooper!
So this is a super special page here. Who's that?
Debate.
Oh my gosh.
You know,
Oh my goodness.
It's his Quebec.
We worked hard on that signature. Oh, can't get ready for something like that.
Yep.
So I get to have that book?
Sure.
as we were on the finish line of the book, as a team with our Rod's Heroes team, we had one of our team members come up with, what if we create a distribution center that is run by individuals with Down syndrome? So for those that order a book, you're going to have your own customized page that's going to be signed by an individual who fulfills this, that has that superpower, that extra chromosome.
So tomorrow, did you know we're going to your school, Coop? We're going to have an assembly for World Down Syndrome Day.
What's up, Cooper? Are you ready?
Anybody know what today is? Boom, you guys are smart. Today is World Down Syndrome Day, a super special day. So, let's see. Does anybody in here know anybody that has Down syndrome? Cooper.
See you, Coop. Hi, Cooper. Hi, Cooper. Hey, Cooper.
He's giving them confidence and helping them learn that it's okay to maybe have something different about you, something that's hard. It doesn't really matter. Like when you have that friendship, I think that, you know, those kids, like they become his greatest cheerleaders and supporters.
What's going to happen next year with school?
Yeah, I gotta graduate.
You're going to graduate, and then what?
And then I get my mission call.
Where are you going to go?
I go Hong Kong.
Hong Kong. That's a good mission. What are you going to do after that?
And I go college.
You want to go to college? Plan on it. You're going to college. And then when you graduate from college, what are you going to do? You were telling me the other day you wanted to get married. Is that true?
Yes.
Every day when I come home from work, I come back through the back door and Nash hears me walking down the hallway and he comes running over and gives me a great big hug. He's done that since he was 4. He does that now when he's 17. How many parents get a great big hug from their 17-year-old son and tells them how much that he loves them every day?
Oh, you want to go? You want a shot at the title? That's it. Let's go right now. Me and you. On your mark, get set, go! You always beat me.
And then guess what? Nash can do that when he's 42 years old and I'm an old man. And that is the best part, but it just keeps getting better. And I cannot wait for the future to see what more adventures these boys bring us.
3, say, go.
Come on, get him to
Cooper.
It's just getting better.
High five.
It's just getting better.
Thank you for watching this story. My dad and I are so happy that we get to do this, and it all started when we began the journey to make a movie inspired by our friend Jay, who has Down syndrome. The movie is called Made with Love.
As we work on raising the money to shoot the film, we've met incredible people in the Down syndrome community
Whose stories have inspired us.
Every person has a superpower, and for individuals with Down syndrome, those superpowers shine in the most incredible ways. We proudly partner with Rod's Heroes, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to uncovering and celebrating the unique strengths, talents, and limitless potential of individuals with Down syndrome. We do this by showcasing their incredible abilities, inspiring families to open their hearts and answer the call to adopt children with Down syndrome, and empowering communities to step up, support, and uplift individuals with Down syndrome, creating a world where they are seen, valued, and given every opportunity to thrive. Together, we're not just changing lives, we're changing the world. Join us in making a difference. Visit rods.org to learn how you can get involved, donate to support our mission, and meet the incredible children waiting for their forever families.